Thursday morning. I'm just about to cut some more bricks to shape around the window, and we've also got over there, right in the distance, a truck with the bells on it, because they finally arrived. So I see if we can get some footage of them dragging these bells in. Personally, I'm not getting involved. We're bringing them in. I don't want to get involved at all. But apparently they're coming in, and then they've got some chap coming down to bless them at the weekend, a bishop or something. So let's crack on and get some bricks cut. There you go, that's another 3 bricks done. Just waiting for it to set now. They can do it with the churning brush and possibly do something with this stone. Not a great deal going on this morning. Busy cutting, as you know. Right, I'm going for lunch now because I'm absolutely starving. We'll see you shortly. It's looking a damn sight better than it did. And the colour will go something similar to that there. That's your original. It'll go a lot lighter with this. So it'll go something like that. That red shiny stuff, that's the burnt sand mastic. I'm going to do that right round the frame, and then the window frame itself, they've basically said, yeah, can we paint it? So we'll be painting the 2 window frames black, nice shiny black. So it'll look quite well from down on the ground, this, when it's all done. Of course, we've sorted out the stonework around the statue, and the statue will be cleaned. So yeah, it'll look like they've really gone to town on this bit of the church. And then just above is the clock, of course, which is fully restored as well. So that's it's going to look smashing, this elevation. Right, on to the next. Well, it's late Thursday afternoon. Now you see that piece up there, it's eroded away. It should be something like that one, but it's not, it's gone. So I spent most of the afternoon cutting out, so not really filmed that, quite boring I suppose. But what I will show you is the piece of stone that I've cut this morning for replacing that one up there. Now that's a piece of sandstone. It's some salvage sandstone that I got given. It came out of a Victorian building, so it's kind of like the same age that it came out of the ground, I suppose, when the bell tower was built. And it's come up quite nice, and it's good and solid. There's no rot in it or anything like that, and it'll look quite splendid when it goes in. Now there's a little bit of a chip out of it there, but we're not bothered because we're going to have to cut it down to about there. I carted it up without thinking, actually, about its height. I measured obviously the size and shapes and all that kind of stuff, but I forgot about the height. Carted it all the way up, thought, oh, I've got to cut it down. But what I might do is just carry a lead and a grinder up here. Be damn sight easier than carrying the stone down again. Plus there's a couple of other little bits that I might have to titubate with some bits of stone. Okay, so we shall leave you there for Thursday. Like I said, I've been mainly cutting out there. And we shall see you on Friday. And a bit more filming, I think, for Friday. Been a bit of a bad week, not really got on site till today. Weather's been atrocious, so we've lost a lot this week. Right, we'll see you tomorrow. And a very good morning. It's now Friday, and today we're going to tackle this bit up here, which shouldn't take too long. And then we've got a bit there and a bit towards the end, and probably do these copings as well, because they're, as you can see, quite open and buggered. And then once we've finished all that, we're back onto around these windows. This is the second window. As you know, the first one is now done, or as near as damn it. Still got a few bits. I'm going to face up the stone because that's eroded slightly, and then do the burnt mastic around the frame and paint the frame black. and then that's restored and good for quite a few years ahead. But as you can see, this side it's a bit of a state. I think I'm going to have to take most of this out. Certainly that piece of stone's coming out because we've got a new one cut for it, as you've seen. So I'll probably take it down to that stone. I don't think this will drop. It's in too tight, plus it's sat on that window frame. Because I mean the joint on the corner there and there, they're just, you couldn't even get a piece of paper through them. So I don't think that'll come out. Yeah, because none of this is tied in by the looks of it. That what might be, I don't know. But I'll be leaving that in anyway, if I can. So, yeah, right. Let's crack on with this pointing and get it out of the way. Because this weekend it's going to be stormy, gale force winds, torrential rain, lightning, thundering, you name it, it's going to do it. So let's get a bit done before that comes. Well, we could do with a young lad on here at the minute, just to have a bit of a clean up. Really, it's getting a bit messy and full of bricks. Right, so we're going to start pointing this section up here now. So let's crack on with the pointing. Of course, as normal, we'll wet it up. Give it a good soaking. Thirsty stuff is lime. Got to keep it lovely and damp. I mean, this morning first job was wet up all these cherishing sheets again. There's supposed to be a lot of rain coming, so that's great for tomorrow. That'll keep it nice and damp again. We'll give it another wet up before we go tonight as well. So we know that it's been kept wet all weekend then. This lime now is sucking in this water, so the more you put on it, obviously the more it's going to drink, until eventually it becomes saturated, and you know you're not going to get any suction in what you're doing. Right, we'll leave it at that. It has actually had more wetting up than that. Already done it twice this morning, so plenty of water in the wall itself now. I can actually hear the wind whistling through the bell tower. It's more like winter. It's horrible weather. One of the worst summers I've seen for years. Of course, this week earlier on the weather was too poor to come up here. Extremely strong winds, a lot of rain. So what I did was I did the broken spring on the van, but I think I've set it a bit low, so I might have to unbolt it and just wind it up a bit. I'm not a mechanic, you know, so we do it 2 or 3 times and then we get it right. But that's the way it is with something you don't know, isn't it? And yes, I could have gone to the mechanic, but it's really becoming expensive. Same as anything, you know, it's very, very expensive. We've ordered a new grinder, an air-fed grinder, 4-inch grinder. So I thought that's really going to be handy, to be honest, because I don't really like pulling the electrical leads up onto scafts, because you know there's always a chance that you're gonna, you know, split a wire and get electrocuted or something horrible like that. Whereas with air, they're a thick reinforced hose, you know you're not going to break them, or, well, in theory. Plus it's much simpler. You know, it's out, if you get a shower, you're not scratching to put it away. It can get wet, it doesn't matter. So anyway, we've got that coming, which is good. Just at the wrong level, this bit. I get the perps in and I get all the hoff up to the top. All the rest of the top. So I cut my bit of stone yesterday. Used a combination of the hand forged Italian chisels, which are a lovely set of tools, very expensive, and grinders and cut discs, etc. And it turned out well. It turned out very well. I mean, something really big and ornate, you know, I'm going to get in the stonemason to do that, but just simple pieces like that, you know, a bit of a windowsill or a head or something, you know, more than capable of doing it. So yeah, enjoyed doing that piece, and enjoy it even more when it's fitted. So the bit of stone facing that I've done, basically it looks very dark when you see it, when it's initially done. And a lot of people will say to you, oh God, that stands out, looks terrible. But what they don't realise is that lime, as it dries, gets lighter and lighter and lighter. But it takes time. So eventually that bit of stone facing that we've done on this job will go as light as the existing sandstone, and it'll look fine. It'll look great. Also, this particular elevation we're on, it's got a habit of going green. Basically, there's a lot of trees around here, and it makes the masonry go green. So, you know, this time next year, you probably won't even be able to tell it's been patched, because it'll have dried and gone obviously lighter, and it'll have the green and so on all over it again. So yeah, just thought I'd mention that, because I don't want people thinking that we're doing a bit of a bodge job, you know. I want people to know that we're doing it correctly. And yes, you know, I mean, you are better off changing pieces of stone, but if I turn around to the client and said, look, you know, I'm going to have to change all these pieces of stone, you know, they'd be into thousands and thousands on top of what we're already paying, and they just haven't got the money for it. It is a church, you know, they haven't got a bottomless pit of money. So we do what we can to preserve it, and putting the lime onto the stone will help to preserve it for a few more years. You know, eventually, yes, it will have to be replaced, but it keeps the weather off the actual stone. And because it's lime, we're using quick lime. You know, don't think that an NHL is going to do it, because it won't. Use a quick lime if you're going to face stone, but that quick lime will allow that moisture in and out of that stone. Don't ever use a cement mortar to face up stone, because you'll destroy it. You know, cement mortar is a big no-no. Purely do it with lime or replace the stone. There you go. So for any budding young bricklayers out there that are watching the channel for the first time and you're wondering what we're doing here, well, this is lime pointing. It's done with a quicklime mortar and a grit sand, or a grittish sand, which is a yellow colour sand. So your mortar comes out like a beigey colour, I suppose, but it does dry white. Now, the reason we're using this is because, for one, this is a grade 2 listed structure, so you have to go with like for like, and two, it's the correct material for a Victorian building, because all Victorian buildings that have been constructed using lime. Now, if you put sand and cement mortar on top of lime bedding for repointing, that sand and cement is going to trap water into those lime beds. The bricks will suck that water back in and start eventually to break down, to rot, to spoil, etc. And this is why we use lime on older buildings. It's not as hard to use as you'd think. It's pretty much the same as cement pointing. It's the actual finishing off that's different. We use sand and cement pointing, as you'll know if you're a bricklayer. You put it in, you joint it up with your jointing tool, you let it dry in a bit and you go over it with a soft brush and it's done. With the lime pointing, you're better off using the old tuck trowel, or finger trowel as you may want to call it. Once you put it in, you've then got to leave it to stiffen up, and then you've got to hit it with what we call a churning brush, which compacts it. It'll take out any cracks that have appeared. Although if you wet it up enough, you shouldn't really get any cracks. And then once you've done that, once it's been compacted, you need to put on cherishing sheets. Now that would be Hessian sacking, which you'd use for one-day brickwork in winter to stop the frost. Well, we use it for keeping the mortar damp. We keep it damp for between a week and 2 weeks, depending on the weather itself. I mean, at the moment, I could leave the cherishing sheets on for a week. Just wet it up every morning, and purely because the weather is extremely damp and cold at the moment, so it's not going to dry the lime out too fast, because you don't want it to dry out fast. If it dries out fast, it's just going to turn to powder, and that's what's happened on this church previously. It's just turned to powder. Right, so there's just a quick rundown for you on lime pointing. And if you're a young bricklayer and you're finding it interesting, get yourself booked on a course and go and learn about it, because you know the industry needs it, and these old Victorian buildings, they should be done correctly. You know, people keep putting sand and cement into the joints, and it's destroying the buildings. All it needs to be is lime, and it is simple to do. There you go. Check it out. And look how it stays on the trowel. Look at that. Your sand and cement will do that. Now this up here, you can see it's quite ragged on the edges, but when it dries in, we just trim it before we do it with the churning brush, and what that does is it just straightens it all up visually. So from down below, or even stood opposite, it'll just look so much neater. So always trim it up after. Right, so if we get that top joint there now, that went on that hop up. I could just do with it another 6 inches taller. And again, there might be some of you lads out there that are watching plasterers. I am actually a time-served plasterer myself. I've got a sitting guild in it, etc. And I know I do this. I've been doing this for many years, but before that I was in plastering. And I still do plastering. Mainly lime work now. But if you are a plasterer and you fancy getting into the lime, again, go on a course, because you know it's well worth learning these old skills, because they are dying out, and the more people that learn it, the more opportunities will arise, because people are put off having lime plastering done purely because they can't get anybody to do it, you know, and the cost is quite expensive, and some of that is down to the fact that there's not many do it. So, you know, it's a market where you can charge a little bit more, purely because people can't get anybody, so they're prepared to pay for it. But the more that are doing it, the more it'll bring the price down, and the more it'll increase the work, if that makes any sense. And obviously it's not going to go to such a low level that it's the same as gypsum plastering. It'll never do that. For one, the materials are more expensive and there is more work involved. But you can make a good living out of it. So if you're interested and you're a young plasterer again, you know, go on a course, learn how to do it. It's not hard, it's just the same. When you're doing your floats, it's only like putting your sand and cement floats on, really. You know, your hand skills are the same. It's wind's blowing everything over. It's yeah, it's just different system, that's all, you know, and it's just learn that system. I mean, for example, when I was a younger lad, everything we did, it was all float and set. You know, you board your studs, you board your ceilings, but then you float and set all the walls, all your external walls, and sometimes your internal walls as well, block walls. And then eventually that went, and we had to learn new skills, which was dabbing. Again, it was simple to do, but when you first look at it, you're thinking, oh my God, can I do this? But yeah, you know, a couple of jobs down the line and that's it, you're doing it. And it's the same with the lime plastering. You know, it's just learning new skills. So go out and learn them new skills. You know, more strings to your bow. Right, I better crack on with this, talking away to you. The lovely new bells, or reconditioned, should I say. It's a bit dark, so apologies for that. But they're the two big bells there. I think there's 9 of them in total. The big wheels there, the big wooden wheels for the ropes. Chris has found a piano. Doesn't take him long, you know. Right, let's get back up there. Well, we're now after lunch, and 3 brakes there. Faces are gone on them. 2 of them I can reverse because they're not too bad, but one of them I'll have to replace because it's knackered, basically. But they were all loose. I just came to chase a bit of pointing out, and they're all moving, so I thought, right, well, we'll have them out and change them over. So that's what we've been doing for the last 10 minutes. Right, I'll show you in a sec when they're in, because I'm having to hold the camera here. And I can't do bricklaying and hold the camera. However good I am, I can't do that. Now you see this brick here? That's had it, hasn't it? Now this is one that's come out from around the window, so it was a shaped brick. Now I need another brick for there. Now I could go down and get a new one, which I think could stand out ever so slightly, or I could flip this one over and it reveals a good brick, because this side has been inside the wall, so to speak, so it's never weathered or anything like that. And I know it looks a bit pitted, etc., but that's how they were when they were made. They weren't smooth brick. So yeah, we're going to use that one as a replacement. I shall show you it in a sec. There you have it. That's those back in now, and they don't stand out because they're original brakes, which is fantastic. Right, just got a couple of course down at that end to point up, and then I think we've got to tackle these big lumps of stone and get them pointed up. But we're getting through it. We are getting through it. Let's keep going. There we have it. It's all done. The only bit on this lift now is around that window, or the top end of around that window, which is good. It's all been done with the churning brush and kerosene sheets on. Everything's been wet up, and hopefully the gale force winds that are predicted won't rip the sheets off. I don't think they will, because it's coming from the other direction of the wind currently, so we should be alright with that. Right, well, that brings us to the end of this week's video. Only a short one this week, really, not a full week, unfortunately. Wind's getting up now. So I hope you've enjoyed as usual, and don't forget, give us a thumbs up. Very, very important, those thumbs up. They really help the channel along. So if you could do that for me, I'd really would appreciate it. And anybody that's not subscribed yet, feel free to do so. After all, it's free entertainment. So if you're enjoying the channel, enjoying the videos, feel free to subscribe. Numbers are going up, and welcome to all new subscribers. We shall see you next week, where hopefully the weather will have improved and we shall be fitting in the stone that we've cut, cutting some more bricks and laying some more bricks and doing a lot more pointing. And as you've seen in the video, the bells have arrived, and I believe that the bell hangers are coming on Monday to start putting the bells in, and they reckon it'll be a week and a half to 2 weeks before they're in. Ding dong. So I don't fancy being deafened by the bells if they get them working and I'm still on here. That would not be good. Right, we'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend.